Hey everybody, it's Walking Man Walks back here again in the Philippines. So I've been talking about politics lately, and if you talk about politics too much, you could go into a dark place. It's just kind of depressing. So I'm going to change up the subject today a little bit and talk about a subject I've been thinking about for a while. And I'm a fan of the show 90 Day Fiancé. I don't know how many of you are. I used to watch it with my sister back home. But I want to talk about some of the 90 Day Fiancé contestants or actors or whatever you want to call them that have been in the Philippines and dated girls in the Philippines. Stand by and we'll talk about that. Okay, everybody. So the first couple I want to talk about from the Philippines that was on 90 Day Fiance was Ed and Rose. Now, this is going back from when I first came to the Philippines, 2019, 2020. Big Ed, I'll put some B-roll of him up here, but big old...
Here, can I put these on my feet?
Yeah. Kaya lang parang hindi siya handa kasi nakasapatos pa siya. Maputik.
Okay, yeah, hold on.
Oh, take care yourself.
Okay. Right there, okay. Oh, God, okay. Okay. All right, sorry. Oh, don't bite.
Here, this way.
Oh. How do I get over there? Just
Take this.
throw it?
Yeah.
Oh, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. So, Rose, where does your dad live?
Here. Here, inside. With pig.
Big old Ed is this, he was originally from San Diego. He's around my age. I think he's closer to 60 now, but when he first went to the Philippines, he's around 53 or 54 or something like that. And, he had a beautiful young girlfriend there named Rose, who he had only spoken to online. Now, Ed has gotten a lot of shit from people since he's been on 90 Day Fiance. He's on his fourth, fifth show, and I think he's made a lot of money, and he's gotten a good reputation. I don't know about a good reputation, but he's got a reputation from the show. He's considered like a bad guy on the show, I think. But, he dated the girl from the Philippines, and then I think he dated a girl from Brazil or somewhere in South America, and then a girl in the US, and I think he's even on another girl now. I think he was engaged to all of them, actually, but I don't know if I think he might have married the last one. But anyway, I want to talk about when he was in the Philippines. It was pretty funny because you could see the show uses the most extreme situations. Like Rose's dad was a hog farmer, which is common here. There's a lot of hog farmers. Even though my mother-in-law, or not my mother-in-law, my girlfriend's mother, wanted me to go into the pig business with her. And I crunched the numbers on it. It just wasn't a good business, wasn't worth my while. I don't even really want to deal with pigs. I don't want to, feed them, or not that I would have really had to do any of that stuff, but I don't want to be a farmer, basically. I would like to buy some land in the Philippines and farm on it for myself and my family, but I don't want to be a farmer reliant on farming for money, basically. I see how the farmers work here with the rice and stuff, the hours they put in the heat, the hard work, and they make almost no money doing it. I know this because my girlfriend's mom and her husband, they have a rice farm, and they live in deep poverty. But anyway, so in the show, Big Ed goes to the farm, and he's a little guy, really unathletic looking. He said he was an athlete, a wrestler and stuff when he was younger, but he's really overweight. And he goes into the pig stalls to help the father feed the pigs or whatever, and he can't even stand up because it's so slippery in there. He can't keep his balance, which seemed ridiculous to me, overdone for the show. But the thing I don't like about it the most is they made Rose, even though she's a normal Filipina, they made her look really poor, and they are really poor, but they're rich in life here. They they could be super poor and the kids are still smiling. I see them outside here all the time. They're playing with whatever they find. I saw them fish a old trophy out of the canal. That's another issue, the amount of trash in the canal here behind my house. And I'm going to do a video about that later on this week, and all the Filipinos will get mad at me for, capping on their country. But there's something that can be done about it. I'm old enough to remember in the 70s when we had the big campaign about trash. But anyway, that's a video for another time. So anyway, they made her look really poor, and she had a young son, and she wasn't married, and that's really common here in the Philippines as well. So she was a pretty common Filipina, but like they showed, her parents' house, which is like a shack, and Ed was complaining about the roof, the water leaks through and stuff. And that's kind of how my girlfriend's parents' house is. That it has a dirt floor. They cook on wood. The roof leaks when it rains, but they're still happy. I mean, I personally wouldn't want to live like that, to that extreme of poverty, but I could live in the Philippines, and be okay with the way most people live. And I know that sounds bad, but you see the people and they're happy here. I see people much less happy in the United States who have nice houses in the suburbs, with 2 or 3 nice cars in the driveway. And, like just for example, I was walking my dog a few years ago on Long Island, staying at my mom's house, and my dog took a crap in front of the people's house. And I was picking it up, but the old lady that lived in the house came out and went batshit crazy anyway, said I shouldn't be walking on our block. This is a public sidewalk I'm talking about. And she was just a miserable old lady. That's a lot of the people in the US. They're just miserable. And I mean, I don't really blame them either. It's kind of the US, it's like, especially those suburbs on Long Island, New York, they're like cookie cutter. It's just everything's the same. Every strip mall is exactly the same. But anyway, back to the story with Big Ed and Rose. So Big Ed couldn't handle it in her parents' house, staying there, and I do understand that. Like when I go to Charisma's parents' house, it's an outside toilet. To go to the bathroom in some of these primitive houses in the Philippines, you take a bucket of water with you with a scoop, and you use your hand to clean yourself, and then clean your hands in the bucket of water and scoop the water on yourself. And I mean, it's just all not very sanitary, but that's the way my girlfriend grew up doing it. And that's the way, a lot of the people in poverty here do it. I mean, now most houses, they don't use much toilet paper, but they have the bun guns, they call them, where you can just clean yourself with water, which works really well, actually. I even installed one in my RV, because then you just need to use like a little bit of toilet paper. I know, too much information, and it also, cuts down on the abrasion you could get from toilet paper. But anyway, so, they made Rose's family look like as bad off as you possibly can, when really they're, a pretty common situation here in the Philippines, and people are okay with it like that. Like, even though Charisma's parents' farm is primitive, they have the outside bathroom, they also grow rice, they grow mangoes, they grow papaya, they grow all this food, they can eat themselves, all kinds of green vegetables, and they don't eat much meat. And, that's part of the reason that they're skinny. They definitely need more protein in their diet, but they get enough. And, it's just the way a lot of the Filipinos live here. So in the show, they made Rose's family, look really impoverished. And then, Ed couldn't take it in the house, so they went to like a resort, a nicer place. There's a lot of places you could go and get nice hotel rooms for pretty expensive here, that are modern, with a modern hot shower and, a modern toilet and air conditioning, and, close to the beach and all that. And those are some of the areas that Westerners really love here. So he took her to an area like that. And then, he bought her a toothbrush, because he said her breath was really bad, but she told him it was from an ulcer she had, you know, just stupid stuff like that. And actually, ulcers are also quite common here. I don't really know why, you know, like I'm not a medical doctor, but I noticed that a lot of people I have met have or had stomach ulcers here. And anemia, too, is another thing that's quite common here. So those are some of the things you'll see if you come to the Philippines. You'll find out if you start dating a local Filipina girl that this is the way that most common Filipinos live, or Filipinos live. And like the U.S. is getting, it's really, you know, split between the haves and the nots here. Even in my town, there's some houses here that I could never afford. Beautiful houses, you know, and they have, you know, brand new Hilux Toyotas in the driveway, sometimes two of them, you know. Although those are probably a little cheaper here than they are in the U.S., they're still very expensive, especially for a Filipina. I think a new Toyota Hilux is about 2 million pesos, you know, which is like $40,000 or something like that. So 90 Day Fiance, you know, there was Ed, and just this is the reason one of the reasons I'm talking about this today is, well, because I find it really entertaining, but also just recently, the last season of 90 Day Fiance, there was a guy on there named Loren from Las Vegas, and he doesn't really have a job. He's got like a part-time job working at a cross-dresser club in Vegas, which I'm sure there's plenty of those there. But he's into trans women, you know, which they call lady boys here. You know, it's a lot of people think it's offensive in the West, but it's pretty common here that they call trans girls lady boys, you know, just like in Thailand. But he found himself a trans girl here, and you know, he came here to meet her. They had an online relationship, just like Ed and Rose did, and they talked for a while, and then he scraped up whatever money he could. He actually showed up. You guys should watch this season if you get the chance. He showed up in the Philippines with $46 in his pocket, which takes some balls. I mean, to go to a country 8,000 miles away and show up with $46 and, you know, think you're going to survive. And you know, so he had his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, but she's a trans girl. His girlfriend, you know, he was just expecting her to support him, and she did. The thing about trans girls here, it's very common, and they usually realize it at a young age, and there's not a big stigma about it here. This girl, like most trans girls here, just wants to date a normal guy, and you know, they're not as, I don't know how to put it, they're not as sexual maybe as, I don't have much experience with trans girls in the US either, but you know, they just want to date a normal guy. They like American guys just like a regular Filipina does, you know, for the various reasons, you know, and it's not always money. It is a lot attraction. They're really attracted to white skin, blue eyes, height, that kind of thing. But a lot of it is just the personality of Western guys, you know. We're different than Filipino guys, and not better or worse. It's just different, you know. And we do tend to have more money, and we do tend to have a different mindset about money. The Filipino mindset about money isn't like a saving mindset like we have in the West. You know, they get some money and they spend it. People who run a farm, for instance, my girlfriend's parents, they borrow 10,000 pesos, which is like $200, to rent a tractor to harvest their rice, and then they sell all their rice and they spend all the money. Whether they pay back the 10,000 pesos or not, I'm not sure. But and then when the next harvest comes, they just, instead of saving the 10,000 pesos to pay for it again, or buying a tractor, which is not that hard to do to make payments on here, they just borrow the money again the next harvest. You know, and borrowing in the Philippines is, you Filipinos, go ahead and comment on this, but in my experience, borrowing in the Philippines implies that you're not going to get paid back. Like if I lend a Filipino money, I don't even bother asking them for it back. That's why I only lend here what I could afford to lose. Like last time, a couple of years ago, they had a harvest. Was it summer 2023? They were harvesting, and they asked me to borrow 10,000 pesos to, you know, to harvest with their tractor. And I said, okay, I'll make a bargain with you. And this was only because it was my girlfriend's parents and I liked them. And I was like, I'll just give you 5,000 pesos. You don't have to pay me back. And, you know, you could borrow the 5,000 from somebody else. And that's what I did. Even though it was only $200, I don't want them to get in a habit of just asking me for money and me giving it to them and, you know, all that. It just opens up a can of worms. So anyway, Lauren comes here, you know, expecting his new trans girlfriend to take care of him with $46. And she did. And I mean, one of the funny episodes is when he first gets here and he goes to the market and he realizes that shirts, you know, like a t-shirt's $2. You start spending his $46 like he's rich, which is ridiculous. You know, if I came here and I only had $46, I'd hoard that money until I figured out a way to get more money. But this guy's a different breed. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about it because it's entertaining. The 90 Day Fiancé Filipino crossover. And I'm pretty sure there's been other Filipinas on 90 Day Fiancé, but I can't really recall. I mean, I don't really watch TV that much. I just watch clips of it on YouTube. So I haven't watched every season. And, you know, I don't watch it every season religiously. I just watch it when it pops up on my YouTube feed and I have, you know, some time to kill and I don't want to watch politics or, you know, economics or a lot of the other videos that I watch all the time. So anyway, go ahead and comment if you've seen those 90 Day Fiancés, what you think about this guy. I think he's, you know, not very bright. I'm talking about Loren, the latest one from Vegas. There's also a backstory that he's trying to get out of his alimony. He had 2 kids. He's only like in his early 30s, but he had 2 kids when he was like 21 with his ex-wife, and he's not paid any alimony. And one of the reasons he wants to move to the Philippines is to escape having to pay alimony because, you know, that's obviously a crime in the U.S. Anyway, if you've watched those 90 Day Fiancés, if you live in the Philippines, if you're a Filipino, tell me what you think about how they portrayed those, you know, those Filipinas on there. I just want to say one thing about the girl that Loren is dating. She is, you know, a trans Filipina, but she's also a super nice, hardworking, grew up poor, made it, you know, on her own. She moved, I think, to Manila from the province. I think she's from Leyte or Samar, one of those islands. She moved to Manila at 13, started working, put her brothers and sisters through high school, and this is really common in the Philippines. The oldest girl, and this is one thing, you guys, if you come in here to date, marry, whatever, a Filipino, if that's your motivation for coming here, the eldest girl in the family is usually responsible for all her siblings behind her. Now, my girlfriend is the youngest in her family, and she doesn't feel that much responsibility for the rest of her family, but, you know, we still help them out and stuff. But the oldest girl, and it's not the oldest boy, it's the oldest girl, is responsible for putting every kid behind her through school. And it happens a lot. I mean, obviously, if the parents are alive and working and more well off, they put the kids through school. But so many men die here young of heart disease and stuff like that. And there's many reasons for that. I'm going to talk about that some other time on another video. But go ahead and comment about 90 Day Fiancé in the Philippines. I'm curious to what my Filipino subscribers think about that. And also American subscribers that have watched the show. Okay, guys, just a little tangent video here, something that sparked my interest. I think Brazil and the Philippines are probably the number 1 and 2 countries for 90 Day Fiancé shows. Like the couples are a lot of times an American and a Filipina, or an American and a Brazilian girl. And I think Colombia is up there too. You know, I think that's why part of the reason for that is, you know, Filipinas are, you know, really like Western men, and Brazilian girls do as well, Latin American girls. So tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe. Thanks for watching again, guys. And I'll be back with another video soon. Go ahead and buy me a coffee if you want to help out the channel. I use that little bit of money to buy camera equipment and stuff. But the biggest thing is to comment, like, subscribe, share. Thanks again. Peace. See you next time.